Well, it turns out Michael Moore first exposed this back when he was doing a TV show. This was in the late 90s, titled The Awful Truth. It was an 8-minute segment on Michael Moore's show in which he talked about the Wonderlic, that's Wonderlic, Wonderlic Cognitive Ability Test, the WCAT. It is a test that, and this is a piece written by Matt Agorist. I'm not sure what website it was published at, but the headline is, U.S. Court says it's okay for police departments to refuse to hire someone who is too smart. And it's from the Free Thought Project. In fact, the headline says, ever wonder why cops yell quit resisting as they beat a person who's not resisting? Or why they shoot people who pose no threat? Maybe the answer is right in front of us. So this Wonderlic Cognitive Ability Test is basically an IQ test. And many police forces across the United States require people to take it. According to ABC News, the standard range of score, if you get a perfect score on this thing, you get a 50. Okay, so if you're like, Einstein smart, you get a 50. The standard range of scores applied to police officers, is a score between 20 and 27. The average score nationally, according to ABC News, the average score nationally for police officers is 21 to 22, the equivalent of an IQ of 104. In other words, pretty much right at average. 100 is the mean. Is the average. So back in 1996, a guy by the name of Robert Jordan, who was a smart fellow, along with 500 other applicants, underwent a screening process to become a police officer in Connecticut, which included the Wonderlic test. This was conducted by the Law Enforcement Council of Southeastern Connecticut, LEC. This is a coalition of 14 cities and towns to become a cop. And, a few months later, he learned that the police were interviewing people who had taken the test, and he was not called in for the interview. So he called him up and he said, why wasn't I called in for the interview? And they said the city responded, I'm reading from the article, the city responded that it removed Jordan from consideration because he scored a 33 on the Wonderlic Cognitive Ability Test, and that to prevent frequent job turnover caused by hiring overqualified applicants, the city only interviewed candidates who scored between 20 and 27. That was their rationale. The city of New London claims that, quote, people within certain, and this would be intelligence ranges, achieve a degree of job satisfaction and are likely to be happy and therefore stay on the job. We hire dumb people to be police because they don't aspire to anything beyond that, basically, is what the city of New London was saying. Now, Jordan took this to court. He said, this is a violation of my civil rights. This is discrimination against smart people. You can't do this. And the lower court said, yes, they can. And then on August 29th, 1999, he took this. That's when he lost it. So then he thought, Jordan, thinking this must just be a fluke ruling, They ruled against him, saying no suspect classification and that the defendants have shown a rational basis for the policy. In other words, the police departments are saying, hey, it's a rational thing to say we want dumb people to be police because they're less likely to try to, to leave the job. You invest a lot of money in training a cop. So he appealed this to the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Second Circuit. It's one step below the Supreme Court in 1999. And he presented evidence that there's no relationship between intelligence and job satisfaction. And that he's a smart guy who wanted to be a cop. And the court ruled that these 14 towns in Connecticut were still justified in refusing applicants with high IQs, quote, because it matters not whether the city's decision was correct so long as it was rational. They said because all the applicants who were smart were denied, there was no discrimination. Right. And, going into the article, he says, maybe this is why, we've watched from the sidelines as Mayberry was transformed to martial law. A smart person doesn't create a domestic standing army and call it freedom. A smart person does not deliberately tear gas journalists. A smart person does not point a rifle at an innocent person and tell them they're going to kill him. A smart person doesn't severely beat a person with Down syndrome because he sees a bulge in his pants, which is actually a colostomy bag. These were all actual cases. There's hot links to all these. A smart person does not continuously shoot an unarmed man who poses zero threat and whose arms are in the air. And it goes on and on. So it was Michael Moore in 1999 or 2000 who exposed this. Police departments will not hire smart people.